Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. My name's Ryan. Today I'm going to be trying a craft distillery rye that I have never had in my life. This comes out of Minnesota, courtesy of Damned Thrice, one of our supporters, and really interesting. So let me break this down for you. This is Rockfilter Distillery. This is their Red Rider Rye. What I'll do is I'll go ahead and pour it, let it start opening up a little bit, and I'll introduce you to the distillery, what they're about, and what this is. Alright, so this is not your typical rye. So this is, let me give you the basics here. 92 proof. It's also made with high rye in the mash bill, but also applewood smoked oats in the mash. That's kind of different. That could be kind of cool. They say it makes it sort of creamier, but we will find out. So a little bit about the distillery. I just going through their website, reading some of their bios and stuff like that. I have to appreciate they seem to have a healthy dose of sarcasm, right? Our founder went from a year in a combat zone to sitting alone on a tractor. He didn't miss getting shot at, but he did miss the camaraderie. Stuff like that. Later on the website, it's like, we've weathered farming, night aircraft carrier landings, corporate America, and Minnesota winters. So distilling is a nice change of pace. So he's a farmer turned distiller, and this is in Minnesota. They've got like a creek-powered mill on the site. They've got a limestone aquifer, so similar to, geology then to like, you know, bourbon country in Kentucky. Anyways, I enjoyed reading up on them, so check them out sometime. This is a small craft distillery in Minnesota, and we'll see if their Red Rider Rye is any good. The applewood smoked oats is an interesting component here to me. Let's nose it. I'm nosing this, and I often torch my own wood chips for smoked cocktails, and I actually happen to have a whole bunch of applewood chips right here. Yeah, I mean, it checks out. I was gonna say, this noses like one of my applewood smoked old fashions. There's sort of like a fresh corn on the cob, like not boiled corn on the cob or cooked corn on the cob. I mean like an actual ear of corn fresh off the stalk, kind of a vibe there. It reminds me of Michigan Falls, because in the falls here in Michigan, there's just orchards and farms everywhere. It's sort of part of our, you know, West Michigan culture. Is in the autumn time, you go visit the farms, do the hay rides, you pick out some veggies and, you know, all that stuff, like homemade apple donuts, ciders, all that stuff. This gives me a great note of farm fresh stalks of corn, no doubt, front and center. Sort of that dusty, smoky air quality of a farm mid-harvest season. There's also a fruity sweetness to it. I think of like dried fruits in a trail mix. But boy, does this feel like an autumn rye on the nose in all the right ways. This makes me want to go put a flannel shirt on and get outside and do some yard work or something. I don't know. I like it. Let's try it. Cheers. That is extremely different. Up front of the palate, it is a whole lot of like mesquite smoked wood. You know what I mean? Sweet and smoky, dried fruits, a little bit of stewed corn in there as well. The finish, though, starts to wade into typical rye waters. There's a nice spicy note on the end of it, but it doesn't have hard edges. It's not abrasive or punchy. It's a pretty smooth transition, I think, predominantly because the palate warms you up for that rye spice by delivering this really smoked wood quality to it. So a little rye spice is like no problem for your palate by the time you get to it. This just tastes like autumn whiskey to its core. Wood fires, dusty air from the harvest season particles, the particulates that are floating around. And I say those things in a very endearing way. I love fall. I love autumns here in Michigan. I want to be sipping this next to a fire with my dog next to me. You know what I mean? Jeans and a flannel on. I like this whole vibe, honestly. I really do like this whole vibe. Sweet and smoky, a little peppery at the end. Kind of reading up, a lot of people said creamy and coffee notes. I don't think I get any of that. Creamy is not something that comes to mind, nor does coffee. But I don't feel like it's missing those things either. I really like what it's got going on here. I think the smoked wood might be where people get sort of those bitter, black coffee grounds kind of notes from. So I definitely understand it, but I'm not sure that coffee flavors are really the things that come to mind for me personally. Sweet, mesquite, smoked wood, a little pepper at the end, some stewed corn in there and dried fruits. It's quite an experience. So if I was to rate this per my scale, I think it would get high marks for being unique, being inventive. That's one of the things I really appreciate about craft distilleries is their ability to be creative, be inventive, because they really need to do that in order to kind of put their product out there on the market and let it get any traction, get any attention. Because you've already got legacy distillers making the standard, here's a good bourbon, here's a good rye, here's a good wheated. You know what I mean? So it's almost like the market's really saturated in that regard. So if they're going to make a product that's going to get any kind of attention up front, it's got to be different. It's got to stand out against the backdrop of already great whiskey offerings. I think this really does that. It's singular. Like, you don't taste this and start comparing it in your head to Stag and E.H. Taylor and Wild Turkey. You just don't do that because it's nothing like those things. It is its own entity. But it's also not weird to the point where you're like, I don't know why I would ever drink this. It's different, but not in like a weird way. It delivers an experience I didn't know that I wanted today, and for that, I appreciate it. So I'm gonna give this a solid 7.1, right? And that's not like a C-. That's not how my scale works. A 7.1 is really good. Like, that's really good. I recommend that you, if you ever have the chance to try this, I recommend that you do. So hey, cheers to Christian, Kate, and Casey over there at Rockfilter. This is really good stuff. Like, I'm really happy that I have this. I would not be upset to have my own bottle. Now that I've tried it, I wouldn't be upset to have my own bottle at all. Hopefully I can get it on my shelf before fall comes around, because I would love to sit around a fire with a bottle of this come autumn. So keep doing what you're doing. Cheers. Thank you to my Patreon supporters for supporting the channel and funding the bottles that I get to pick up and review here. Big shout out to y'all. And if you are a Patreon supporter, polite reminder, at the beginning of the week, next week, we're going to pull the raffle. So if you're a Patreon member, your name is in the hat. So you can join the Patreon for as little as $1 a month, and that will get you access to some of the things that we do, like the raffle that we're doing. If you're a Tier 1 subscriber, your name goes in the hat once. If you're Tier 2, your name goes in twice, so on and so forth. I'm going to draw the raffle winner at the beginning of the week next week. The winner, I will reach out to you and let you know, hey, congratulations, you won. And then I'll give you the full list of my full inventory of whiskey here at the house. And you will pick my next blind that I will live stream. So you will pick all 4 bottles. You will then email the list of your selections to my wife. She will pour them all without me in the room, so I won't even know what bottles are in the blind. I will know nothing about the blind. So I'm really looking forward to that, and we'll do that as a live stream. Also, I think we're gonna do a bottle share kind of a thing, a virtual bottle share, where we're gonna, if you are interested in doing this, we're gonna pick a bottle from our shelves. We'll bottle them up into samples, and then we'll ship them out to all the people who are participating in the bottle share. So you'll basically send out samples to everybody, but you're also gonna receive samples from everybody. And then we'll do like a virtual tasting together, sort of like a show and tell. Think of it like a bottle show and tell. You pick out something, and you don't need to pick out like your top shelf $300 bottle or anything like that. Just something that you think is cool, a unique experience. Maybe it is meaningful to you in some way, shape, or form, or it's a local product, something like that. We'll share these with each other, and it'll just be a fun time to hang out, have some camaraderie. Thanks again, Thrice, for sending in the sample. Really appreciate you. Cheers, my friends. May you live richly and get better with age. And I hope to catch you in the next one. Bye-bye.